Hey guys, what is up? This is Build30 and this is the one and only pet build guide, and you might be wondering why I decided to finally make the guide for it. Well, it's because the update 7 patch notes have come out on Reddit, and I've read them, of course, and I've seen all the nerfs that sorcerers are going to take and how shitty it's going to be. There's many bad points to the patch notes. There are a few good points for sure, but I've seen many class related bad points, about Nern and about pets themselves and about, I don't know, damage scaling, many shitty shit, you know. So I don't know, like the game might fail, it might not, I might quit, I might not, I don't know, I'm gonna have to try to see. So just in case the game is gonna fail, I just wanted to release the pet build for the people who tried it and failed, and for the people who did not even try it because they didn't want to try something of their own, I've got some tells from people who tried it and they managed to succeed, some people failed at it, so I'm just gonna release my own version of the pet build for the people who failed or for the people who want to try my own version, And you will see throughout the guide, it's gonna be kind of long because I'm gonna be covering actually many different ways and setups you can use the pets in, because you will see that that's the reason why I wanted everyone to come up with their own version, because I don't always have the same setups, I don't have the same armor, same skills always. I get different morphs at times, Sometimes I go for more DPS, sometimes I go for more sustain. That's why there's so many preferences that can change according to your own liking, Anyway, so this is gonna be the guide, and I hope you guys enjoy. Leave a like, thumbs up, and subscribe, and enjoy. Alright, so I'm gonna be starting with my skills, actually with my armor. So the basic and the only thing that is never gonna change about your armor is your 5-piece necropotence. Now I'm pretty sure everyone figured it out that necropotence has to do with that, and it's true. It does have to do with it, although I do have a friend who figured out how to gain even more magicka without using necropotence. I didn't figure it out myself, but I've managed to get a good amount of magicka with necropotence myself, so 5-piece necropotence does not change. If you can get it up to golden, you can get even more max magicka from each one of the 2 and 3 and 4 item pieces. So if you can get them to golden, that'll be the best thing. And having the glyphs too makes a difference. So as you can see, I get golden glyphs on my head and my body, 637 max magicka from each piece. Some of them are purple, some of them are white actually. I didn't get full yellow glyphs, but it's really worth it to just try and maximize as much and just gain as much max magicka as you can. Now the two pieces that can differ and change is the other 2 pieces. Now necropotence has all the armor pieces, all of them. So you got you got enough choices to change around and stuff. So you can decide any piece you want to take off and craft your own piece, or get another piece, whatever you want. You got all the pieces, so you got a lot of options to change in. So I'm running through martial knowledge for the 2-piece max magicka, but I would prefer to craft yourself two pieces of Magnus. You gain max magicka and you can choose your own trait. You can go for divines, and that's what I wanted to go for, divines. My shoulder is divines, but my boots are not divines. But you know what, you can change. For example, if I don't want to craft, you can go actually for gloves, you can give it a gloves here, and you gain 2 divines and switch that boots over to necropotence, and you can have 2 divine pieces if you don't want to craft your own. So that's a good option too. And they're V13 purple. If you can get them to yellow, they'll even be better. My 3-piece is a healer, 3-piece healer on my jewelries, and my staff is a master staff. Now I would really recommend lightning master staff. I mean, the only reason my build isn't perfected yet is because I don't have a lightning staff, because lightning staffs can be raw dodged or reflected or anything, they don't have counters to them. Master staff can be raw dodged and reflected, that's why it's kind of annoying, but I gotta keep up, just you gotta accept it until I manage to farm a lightning staff. Now this is the basic setup really, like this is the really basic, most DPS you can gain. It gives me 44k max magicka. I don't have much regen because this is just a DPS setup, you know what I mean? It's just a fully out DPS. No regen, no sustain, you know what I mean? So you can sacrifice some you can sacrifice some max magicka and go for more sustain. That's part of the things that you can change. Now this is just number one, you know, like this is just one way to run the pets. Okay, now here's another way. If you want to be a bit more tanky, this is what you could do. You could switch over your to 2 pieces, to actually 4 pieces of nerd. 2 armor pieces and 1 sword on board, and that can give you so much tankiness. Now I did not try it myself. I mean, I did try it, but I did not make a video for it. I didn't record it, but I tried it myself, and it was really OP. Now I don't have a heavy armor Nern legs, but I got light armor Nern, so I'll put on these, and I gotta complete my 5 necropotence, so I go for another shoulder and a glove, necropotence. Now you got 2 Nern heavy armors that give you a lot of resistance, that's for sure. And you want to switch your sword on board over to 2 seducers, seducer shield and seducer sword. Now you got 4 pieces of seducer. You get a lot of regen out of that, you know. You got, as you can see, I got 44k max magicka. At the same time I got that much regen. My spell resistance is not that high yet because my sword on board are not nerd, but if you can get them to nerd, that'll be really good. And if you were gonna do it, if you actually want to try to run it this way, the tanky way, you want to switch out your main skill here over to defensive stance, I guess. I think it's called. Yep, defensive stance. And your second skill in your back bar is going to be Boundless Storm, or I prefer actually the other morph, the one that lasts longer, because you will not be you don't need the speed really. You just want to last longer while holding block while your pets do the damage. So this is a straight up, you could say, cheeky build where you just stand there, hold block for a long time, you know, and just, you know, not take much damage. But you don't want to hold block forever because you want to save some stamina, and you know what I mean. You don't want to waste all your stamina because you're not fully in heavy armor. You just get 2 pieces. So this is just a bit a difference. You know, this is just another way to run the pets. It's a tank build. Kind of less DPS because you don't have frags and you get a bit less magicka. You can say I got 42k, but you know, it's another way for the people who prefer to be tanky. Yeah. So another way would be to run 3 seducer. And that will get you less magicka, but 3 seducer, so you can get the extra piece of magicka recovery. But you want them all to be light. So I'm gonna switch over here. I'm gonna switch here over to seducer rope top. Where the hell is it? Alright, here we go. Seducer rope top and seducer. Yeah, it's already light, so I get 3 piece seducers here. You'll gain less magicka, that's for sure. You can switch over to your light here. Let me change that, and there we go. You got 44k, 43k max magicka, and and you got 1400 regen. Now, what I'd recommend though, like this is what I got here. I got the mage one, as you can see, for the max magicka. But if you're gonna go out on like you want as much sustain as you want. You don't want to run out of magicka or resources. And this is what I do if I were to fight a good player. Like if I want to 1v1, I go for duels, fight good players. This is what you want to do. You want to switch over that mage Mundus. You want to change it to an Atronach Mundus, and your regen will go up to about 18 to 1900, and that's a lot of regen, like a lot of regen. And the reason you want to do that because you won't run out of magicka at all. But your max magicka though will go down to about 41 to 40k. Now that's not a problem because in this setup you're gonna be focusing on more sustain than DPS. Now you will have the DPS, but you'll be kind of less. But you'll still have the DPS, trust me. Because I've done it with even 39k max magicka, and it works really fine. I know it's worth it because you really want to run out of magicka, and at the same time you will gain a lot of DPS. Now, another way, if you want to gain more sustain and you don't want to just stand there and heavy attack forever, this is what you can do. You can switch over your inner light for frags and your second bar inner light for harness magicka. If you don't want harness magicka and you're gonna fight someone in a duel who runs a stam build, you can switch harness magicka for Daedric Mines. And if you don't prefer Daydream Minds, just go back over to Honest Magica. Some people who I've seen run Shuffle, you can actually put on Shuffle here. You can slot it up. You can slot it in if you prefer to have Shuffle. You can have that here. You can have that there, yeah. And you'll have 40k max Magica, almost 41k, 1400 regen. But as I said, you need to switch over to the Astronaut Mundus. If you do, you will go up to about 1800 to 1900 regen. And you have a lot of DPS, your frags will hit for a ton of damage, a truckload of damage. Now I've got the explosion. Now about the skills here, I've got the explosion pet, the volatile familiar, the one that explodes, for 20% of your max Magica. So the more max Magica you go up to, divide that, you know, take the 20% of that, and that'll be the damage that your pet will do as a base damage, not as the crit damage. Because it could do like a base damage of say 10k or 9k, and it can crit for up to 14 to 15, maybe 16k if you're lucky. But you know, it also depends on your opponent. If he has spell resistance, if he has Nern, or he's running light armor or heavy armor, you know, that all plays a part in it, you know. So I've got the explosion pet here. Now the other, and the other morph is really good as well. Now if you go for the other morph, of this pet, the one that heals, now that other morph does so much damage. It does 4 or 5 times the base damage, not the explosion, the base damage, you know, just the normal attacks of the pet. It does 4 to 5 times the strength of the normal base damage of this pet. Okay, so meaning that the flying pet does 4 to 7k damage, depends on crits, 4 to 7k. And this pet is gonna do 4 to 5k base damage. So that's a constant, almost say an average of 10k. That's constantly 10k damage every 1 second. And that also depends on your opponent, if he has light armor or heavy armor or whatever he's running. You know, that all changes and depends. But that's an average of base 10k damage. But the reason I'm not really doing it, and I prefer the explosion pet, because the explosion pet provides you with more burst. You know, it gives you a lot of more burst. You can as you've seen in my old videos, I've been timing the explosion of this pet with the curse and a frag or a soul assault. And I've been changing it around recently. I've been trying a meteor, I've been trying Dawnbreaker. You can create a really huge amount of burst. You can get your pet to explode for 10k, the curse can go up for 8k, your frag can do like another 9k or 10k. If it crits, it can go up to 11 or 12, 13k, and you can go for a Dawnbreaker that does an 8k, and that's about, I don't know, over 20k DPS in a second, you know. So as I said, that's another way to run pets. Now if you don't really like this way, there's another way you can run it. Alright, so say for example you're gonna fight someone who runs Nern and who holds block forever and has a lot of stamina, and you don't know how to kill them. Now, well, here's the way. Say for example he's a type of build that holds block, not a wall dodging build, a build that holds block for a long amount of time, and he just does not drop it. This is what you want to do. You want to switch over your harness Magica for restraining prison. You want to keep him restrained the entire time, and just like you don't want him to move a lot, because you will be running lightning flood. This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna drop lightning flood, and you're gonna switch over and keep him restrained the entire time. Now if he's stupid, and you know, if he's not a good player, he's gonna keep roll dodging from your restraining prison, and that's gonna make him out of stamina, because block holding builds, they can hold block and they can sustain for a long time, but their weakness is CC breaking and roll dodging. They don't have enough regen to you know, CC break and roll dodge a lot. They're not like the roll dodge builds who have really high regen. And it kind of depends from a player to a player. So as I said, you'll just keep them restrained, and you'll drop your lightning flood on them, and you'll keep your pets on them the entire time, your curse and everything. Now you're gonna keep doing that until you can drop your outro. The moment your outro goes down, no build, not even 7 Nern can stand your outro, your three pets and all that damage is gonna take. Like, the outro is really strong. I can't even emphasize enough on how strong it is. Like, the outro is just a must be on your bar in one of your ultimates. It must be there. It's better than any other ultimate, but the thing is, the outro does not give you enough DPS. I mean, no, it does give you enough DPS, but I mean, it does not give you enough burst. If you want to go for an insta burst, you can go for a Dawnbreaker. You know, just get everything to explode together and go for a Dawnbreaker. But if you're gonna go in a 1vx and you're getting piled a lot, you can drop this atro, it will stun them, and then get all your pets to attack one single player, and that player is gonna die in a maximum of 4 seconds, 5 seconds. If they're bad players, they're gonna die in 1 second, really. The damage from the atro is crazy. So even if you're going against someone with none and all that stuff, you can, as I said, encase them, keep them in place, drop lightning splash. And before you drop your atro, make sure that they don't want to wall dodge. If they want to wall dodge, make them run out of stam first, and then encase them and drop your atro, because you don't want them to run away from your atro. And even if they do run away, you could just move your atro, get it beside them again, and keep it on them, and they'll definitely die. And that's another way to run your pets. Now, if you're gonna say you're gonna fight someone who has a wall dodge build, and that's for example a duel, as I said, this is what you do. You're gonna switch over your second bar for mines, okay, and your main bar. It depends now. If your opponent is gonna have reflect on, you do not go for frags. But if he does not have one reflect, you can go for, I guess, I don't really have anything in specific, but I'd prefer to go for entropy. So as I said, you can go for entropy because you wanna cast that before you go for your ultimates, and your ultimate should be either Dawnbreaker or Soul Assault. But do not go for atro, because they can keep roll dodging forever and you'll never get them with an atro. So it's either you're going to go for Dawnbreaker or Soul Assault, and you want to make sure you cast the entropy on them before you go for the ultimate. Or you can switch it out for an inner light and use the inner light and then go for the ultimate. And the reason I prefer inner light than entropy on a roll dodge build is because they can roll dodge your entropy, and if they roll dodge it, your ultimate is not going to gain the buff, and you want it to gain the buff. So you can guarantee it to gain the buff if you go for inner light. But if you go for the other one, you're not going to guarantee it. And if you're going to fight a roll dodge build, make sure you run a lightning staff, because they're going to roll dodge your heavy attacks the entire time. So you want to have a lightning staff or a resto staff to heavy attack them, and they can't roll dodge that. Now if you're going to... Right, so say you want to run another different setup for an open world build, okay? You want to run an open world build in a different setup, not the same ones that I've explained earlier. This is what you want to do. You want to run, not bound Aegis, you want to run the other morph of it, the other morph bound Aegis, the one that gives you heavy attack bonus, okay? So you're going to run that on one of your bars, I mean in your DPS bar actually, and your second bar should have crit surge, or crit surge, yep, crit surge, the one that heals you for more, or actually have like power surge, have one that gives you spell damage and weapon damage, because you want to buff your weapon damage, which is your heavy attacks, and you want to buff your curse and your pet's explosion. Although I don't think, yeah, actually does not get affected, but you want to buff your curse only, I guess. So you go for bound Aegis, the other morph of it, the one that buffs your spell, your damage, and you want to put on surge. So this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna buff surge here. You're gonna put on the bound Aegis, the other morph that gives heavy attack again. You want to turn that on, and you want to just go over with heavy attacks. But before that, you want to go on your champion points here and put points into the constellation, the one that buffs your staffs. You want to get here about 10% bonus, okay? So you're going to get 10% from your champion points, 11% from your bound Aegis, the other morph again, and you're gonna get another 20% from your surge. So this is gonna be a pet build where you pretty much heavy attack for really strong heavy attacks, really strong heavy attacks. So this is pretty much, you know, a build just heavy attacking the entire time, curse and spamming empowered ward. You won't have frags though. You'll be giving up your frags for your heavy attacks. So just keep that in mind. So let me go over my champion points here. So if you're gonna run a straight out DPS build, you're running Mage's Mundus, and you're not even running that recoveries. What you're gonna use is all your points here. Take all your points of magical recovery, put them all into reductions. Because say you have 1k recovery, alright? So you have 1k recovery, and you want to switch the points over from recovery. The 10% here that you're gonna take off here from recovery and give it to reductions. Your regen here is gonna go down by 100, just 100, and 100 is not much. So 1k regen and 1.1k regen is not a difference really. They're both really bad regions. They're both shitty regions. It's just that one regen is worse than the other. That's the only difference. This regen is 1k, this regen is 1.1k. they're both horrible, and just one of them is just more horrible than the other, you know what I mean? So having points into regen when you're not even spec'd for regen, it's just stupid. So you want to take out all your recovery out of here, and you want to put it all into reductions, and have as much reductions as you can, and that way you can gain the most out of your magicka. You can gain the most magicka out of your own magicka. That will perfect your magicka resource management. Okay, but if you're gonna go for the Atrium on this, okay, you're gonna go for the switch over. I don't have it right now, but if you're gonna switch for the Atrium on this, and you're gonna run 3 pieces of seducers. Hold on, let me put on seducer boots, and seducer legs, and the seducer staff. Yep, you're gonna have, say, 1650 regen. I'm not even in the mage Mundus. I'm still in the mage Mundus right now, but say you have, hold on, I'm missing one necropolis piece. Right, yep, I need to go up top. Right, there we go. So yeah, you got 1400 regen, and you're gonna switch over to the Atronach Mundus. You're gonna have about 1800 regen. That's when you want to go over to champion points and put on 10% to your regen. That's when you're gonna gain a lot of regen. That's when it's gonna matter. That's when it's gonna really, you know, be effective to put points to regen. But if you're not gonna run any regen, you're not even spec for regen, and you're gonna just spec for an all-out DPS build where you have like 45k max magicka and you got just all this crazy damage, you don't want to put points into that. You just want to focus on your reductions. Now that's for the stamina part of the constellations. The magic part, you're gonna wanna. Now I want to say this thing before putting points here. You all gotta know this, that pets do not get affected by any of the constellations. Not a single constellation here. Not the crit one, not the shock one that does shock damage. Although pets do shock damage, they're not affected by it. Not the amount of spell resistance your spells ignore. None of all this stuff your pets will be affected by them. So just keep that in mind, okay? So if you're gonna be running a build that does heavy attacks and does not use frags, okay, so it's a heavy attack build. You don't have frags, you don't have anything really. You want to go almost all out on your staff expert. You want to put here like, I don't know, 10%, 12%, and you can give a bit over to your thaumaturge. I don't know what's it called, but you want to put points here, a few points here, like 10% here, and you can go all out on your staff expert. If you put points into these, elemental expert and spell erosion, the only skill they're gonna affect is your curse. Curse is your only skill, and I guess your ultimate too, yeah. Your curse and your ultimates are the only skills that are gonna be affected by them. So just keep that in mind when you're putting points here. You don't have to put your points exactly like I'm doing them. You can put it as the way you prefer them. You just gotta understand how it works, and you can just make your own decisions. Now, finally, for this constellation, you don't want to put here spell or shield. You don't want to put points here unless you're gonna run a tank build, the one I showed earlier. But I've had it in here because I was trying out the tank build recently. I don't have gold right now to change it, but you don't want to put points here. You want to leave all these empty. You want to put points into thick-skinned, into hardy, and into elemental defender. These are your main 3 that you want to put points into them, because thick-skinned reduces damage over time. All sorcerer skills, almost all of them, are damages over time. So if you can reduce that, you'll take so much less damage from any sorcerer, except their frags and some other skills. But curse, lightning splash, many other skills, they're all damage over time. So that'll reduce a lot of damage from sorcerers. Hardy reduces all magical damage, and that's a straight up really good constellation. And elemental defender, that I prefer to put on just 5% there for anyone who spams crushing shock, and it also reduces sorcerer's damage, so sorcerers all do lightning damage mainly. You want to put a few points into here, like I was testing this bastion. Now it's a good constellation, that's true, but I don't like to put much points into that one, because if you look at your damage shield, it's already 11k. It's already really strong. So I don't really find a point into putting many points here. I'd say 5% is enough. I mean, just put on here 5%, and you want to focus on these 3. These 3 are more important than this one when you're running a pet build. So Hardy, Elemental Defender, and Thick Skin, they'll want to get more points than Bastion. You can put 5%, 10 points, and that'll be good enough for it. So that's pretty much it for my constellations. And the food you want to be running here, the food you want to be running is this one. I prefer this one. You'll have less stamina, 9k stamina, but it should be enough for you to CC your break whenever you get CC, okay? And if you feel like it's not enough, you can switch over. You can switch over to a purple food. I don't have one right now. You'll gain less max magicka. You'll go down by 1k max magicka, but you'll go over to 13k stamina. Now that'll definitely improve your stamina and resource management. So that's pretty much it, guys. That was my pet builds, I guess. You know, I've explained everything. I covered my stats, my armor, my skills, my food. I've covered everything. You see, the point was I wanted you all to understand how the pets work, how the skills can like what possibilities do you got, what combinations you can go for, what you can try, and you can come up with your own personal preference. That's why, as I said, I preferred everyone to come up with their own build. So I covered my own setups that I've had. I don't have anyone that I prefer more. I mean, I guess there are 2 or 3 of them that I prefer than going with a heavy or a tank build, or a dual wheel build. These are not really my preferences, but I just laid them out there for whoever prefers them. Let me know in the game if you need any help. By the way, you can message me at KylieBolter. Message me and let me know if you need anything. I've already got some messages from people and mails or friend requests, and I've answered to all of them. And I think all of them. I think there's a few people who I didn't help out yet, but I'll be helping everyone. So just message me if you need anything, guys. Oh, and I also wanted to say one more thing. I've come up with a really strong sorcerer heavy armor build. I've come up with a 5-piece heavy armor sorcerer build, and it's really strong, really strong. So I'll be releasing that build. I think I'll be releasing that build. I should be pretty soon, I guess, but I'm kind of busy right now. But I'll be releasing that build pretty soon, so stay tuned to that. And I hope you enjoyed this build video. Give it a like and thumbs up and subscribe and comment. Let me know what you think of the build, what ideas you got, and peace out.